Yo, welcome to the Generation One podcast. We are so grateful that you decided to join us today. We're going to be having a conversation about legacy and what is your legacy, leaving behind a legacy. We might have heard about this term legacy before, and maybe we have our ideas on what it is and why it's important, but legacy is directly tied into your purpose. Legacy is what you leave behind. There's a passage of scripture that says that a good man or woman leaves behind an inheritance for his children. And I believe that our inheritance that we leave behind shouldn't just be monetary. I believe that God sets us up in such a way to where our lives, our very lives, and the things that we're called to build in our purpose is our legacy. So we're going to have a conversation today that's very necessary about legacy. And it just so happens that here at One, we are celebrating 20 years of ministry, and what a powerful legacy that is. We want to thank Pastor Torre and Pastor Sarah for 20 years of amazing ministry, of life change, of impact, of power, because God has done such incredible things through them to inspire all of us to be able to do great things as well. And this is a part of that legacy. So we want to honor them. We want to honor Pastor Torre. We want to honor Pastor Sarah and all who have helped build this amazing legacy that is One, because we wouldn't be standing here had it not been for them and for their faithfulness and for their pursuit of purpose and going after God relentlessly. So we love you so much. We're grateful that you decided to join us today. Without further ado, let's get into this conversation about legacy. Yo, what's good? This is Generation One, and we are talking about legacy and leaving behind a legacy. My name is Ty, and I am with my brothers. What's up, y'all? I'm Rick.
Hey, I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Jalen.
Jalen, man. Well, y'all, I think that legacy is such a powerful conversation because I don't know about you guys, but coming up, I don't know if I ever really had the conversation about legacy and what that was and do you want to leave behind a legacy? I think my dad set an example for me of, you want to leave behind something great. You want to leave behind, whatever. But I don't know if I ever really had a chance to have it broken down for me. So I want to ask you guys, and maybe I'll go first, but what does it mean to have a legacy or to leave a legacy in your eyes? For me, leaving a legacy is leaving something behind that the next generation, whether it's my children or people who are connected to my voice and my sound and my gifting and my calling, whatever I'm called to do, can jump into the seat, the driver's seat of what I built, and they can take that and not just start from where I started, but take from what I built and go forward and do far beyond what I was able to do, because I believe that's what legacy is. It's like you're setting up the next generation for what it is that you lived for and your life was all about, so that they could take that and run off into their future and their destiny and have a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up. So that's kind of my perspective. And there's layers to it, but I want to hear from y'all. Like, man, what does that look like to leave a legacy behind in your eyes?
Yeah, wants to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run with it.
You look like you wanted to go first. Yeah,
I look like that.
You definitely look like you wanted to go first.
I had it on my face.
It was all over me. He was like itching his thighs.
The heel was going crazy.
First,
for sure.
But yeah, with legacy, I think legacy is simply put, leaving something behind that's bigger than yourself. It's like it's you without you being there. Assumedly, it's like when you pass on, as everybody does, it's like you're still here in some way. Like, all right, he was here and he did something amazing, something that people can continue to eat off of and be blessed by after you're gone. I think it's like your footprint, because the goal is to take something, whatever you get. A lot of people start from different places. Some people start, sometimes you start with multiple tools, sometimes you start with nothing at all. But regardless, you take whatever it is that you have and you build what you can. And then when you leave, hopefully somebody else can start from where you were at. And so just like, yeah, I think we stumble upon legacy as well. When you stumble upon finding yourself, didn't know who I was at all, and I kept growing and understanding who I am. Then when you understand who you are, you understand what's inside of you and what's attached to you. And so then when you start working that, now you understand, I'm starting to build something. And then you understand you're not building something just so you can have money or fame. You're building something that can bless people and that you can give back with. So yeah, it's just something that can outlive you.
You gave me another thought, but I want to hear from y'all too. That's amazing.
Yeah, you hit it right on the money. But I think for me, especially when I was a little younger, I used to think like, oh, leaving behind a legacy means like you got to be great and then have something for people to remember you by. But I think now I'm kind of understanding like, no, it's not really about having accolades because all those things kind of die when you die. But it's about building something that will out-sustain, your life. And so, yeah, when I think about, even the things that I want to do, I'm like, yeah, being great is amazing. And, I think a person should wish to be great. But as long as you're building something that somebody can take and run with, then that's, what true meaning of legacy is. So I'm trying to start doing those type of things, but I mean, I'm 19, so I'm like trying to be great and then trying to also think about the next people. So interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. 19, you got years. We all got years. That's the thing. Anybody that's listening, I know Rick's gonna jump in on what he sees, but for anybody that's listening, no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, you got years. Like
for sure.
Like you got time, and like don't worry about lost time or like, oh, I didn't have it by this age. It's like, no, start where you are. Start where you are. Take the conversation we're having here and have this conversation in your own life. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's good. And all of y'all touched on something that I feel like will resonate with everybody. I think when leaving a legacy, you got to understand that it's selfless, right? When you build, you can't think about each day, year, sorry. You can't think about 10 years down the road, man, I wonder what you know what I'm saying? It's good to have that thought like and like processed, but you got to take every day, day by day, right? And I think one thing that I know for a fact is you shouldn't force it when we become parents, right? Fathers, right? You shouldn't force what you think legacy is on your children. You get what I'm saying? So say I play football. I can't force my child to play football, right? Yeah. Because that's my legacy. I think it's important that you build like foundational tools, right? As a parent or as a person anywhere, right? Absolutely. You build foundational tools that can be universal to anybody's productivity, right?
Really good.
So yeah, that's what my legacy.
That gives me a huge thought too. It's like when you keep pushing your legacy on your kids, like God could be trying to reroute your family's legacy in some way or trying to deepen it in some way. But if you keep putting it on your kids, like, this is what you're going to do, this is what we've always done. It's like, but what if that didn't work? Or what if God's trying to do something different? Like, it doesn't have to be what you've always seen. And, especially now, you see a lot of people discovering themselves in different ways. And everybody's just like really... I like seeing how the youth is very motivated to find themselves. I'm not scared of their minds of just being so adventurous and trying to discover new things. I think a lot of people are. It's like, oh, they're crazy. It's like, no, they're great thinkers, man. Like, I love what's going on here. And I think you're going to really see a lot of people just finding new tools, new ways to advance their lives and their families' lives eventually one day from this time.
I think it's something that everybody said, but Rick really nailed it as far as the language of, he said, leaving behind, almost like leaving behind the principles, because it might not be the same legacy. Like, Isaiah, your dad is a phenomenal, probably in my opinion, he is one of the greatest speakers and pastors in the world. That's my opinion. But that doesn't mean that you have to be a pastor. Right. It means that you take the values of what he did, you take the lessons that he taught you, you take the personhood of who he was and the character that he upheld, and you embody that. That's legacy. Right. And I think that the greatness that's inside of you and me and those who are listening, it's our opportunity to say, we're not going to tell you what to do, but we're going to tell you and give you an example and be a model of how to do it, how to show up in the world, how to be postured when you're navigating business, how to be postured when you're navigating family, how to be postured when you're navigating being a husband or being a father or whatever it is. We're learning these things, and we are daily building our legacy now, and we leave behind, I feel like the best thing we can leave behind, yes, it's great to leave money. It's great. Right. It's great to leave a business behind. That's amazing. That's wonderful. It's great to leave behind a production company. Oh, that's whatever. But the personhood of who you are, the character, the morals, the values, the self-control, these things that we need to talk about, that's legacy. And that's what this next generation needs. And that's what I want. Like, whenever I have kids, bro, I want to be able to be like, yeah, that's all wonderful. And like, you're going to have that. You're going to have money. You're going to have blessings and all that. That's great. But the true blessing is the person that you are.
That's a huge point.
Yeah.
That's a huge point. Yeah.
So what do you guys think is, now let me really break this down. When it comes to building legacy in your life, like right now, when you're looking at your life, what are you doing, and are you taking steps towards building legacy right now? I just touched on it. It's a daily thing, but like, give me some examples. Give me something practical. What are you doing to take those steps, and just walk us through that? Like, what are some steps, and are you taking those steps?
I mean, I could go first. I mean, I think for me, I think it's really important to know who you are, right? And know
First.
What you come with and what you have to offer. Now, when I say what you come with, I mean like the good and the bad, right? So me personally, I'm breaking generational curses just by being here, right? And not being engulfed in like the drug game, right? Or not being an alcoholic, right? Like really trying to abstain from sex before marriage, right?
Yes.
I feel like we should have a whole conversation about
No, we will.
that alone.
All of
right?
these things.
Right?
I think that there's 70 conversations in this one.
Yeah, bro,
But-
for
but
sure.
yeah, bro.
But it's like, I feel like you really gotta observe and understand who you are, know what you bring to the room in order to move forward, right?
100%.
So doing a lot of self-work, putting all that in a nutshell, doing self-work, right? That puts you in a space where you know, okay, cool. After I do this work, I'm able to add to. Because you can't add to if you take from. And if you go into anything unwhole, you taking from something. And it's an unequal balance, right? So do the self-work. Try to take it easy and have like a schedule, right? Try to like wake up in the morning and say, all right, I'm gonna knock this out. But be gracious on yourself if you don't knock out your whole schedule, right? Because we still human.
100%.
We're not gonna be able to knock out everything right away. So just, be patient with yourself in this process.
Yeah, that's crucial. You got to.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, when it comes to like, am I taking those steps now? I do similar to you, Rick. I will line out my day. I will put my tasks in front of me, and not just tasks like, oh, I want to check this off so that I can do this. It's like, am I getting that time to myself? Am I taking care of myself? Because if I don't take care of myself, I can't show up for my fiance, who's about to be my wife. And if I can't show up for her, how's our relationship going to be? And she, on her end, she's doing her work. So it's in life, in business, in relationships, we are only responsible for ourselves. So I think for me, as far as like, am I taking steps? I would say I'm taking steps daily. I don't look at it as like, oh, I'm taking steps for the next 5 years, which I am. However, I break it down to the daily because realistically, I'm not supposed to worry about tomorrow. Because if I start worrying about tomorrow, I'll be so stuck in worrying about tomorrow that I won't be able to focus on today. I need to focus on today. Am I building? I think that's a question we should ask ourselves every single day. Am I building my legacy today? But that's kind of where I'm at in the journey. Is it's daily for me, but. What does that look like for you, Jalen? Like whenever it comes to your walk and your legacy, what does that look like?
Yeah, greatest thing that's helped me with that is having the understanding of timing and how timing is limited. I'm someone who has been very gifted in many different areas, but not had the work ethic to back it all up. And so I've had a procrastination issue for a lot of different things, like and just not understanding from not seeing it before, how to build from step to step to step. And I noticed that God put me in places of serving and working for people who had this mind that just automatically worked like that. Like, oh, well, I'm doing this to get to this and then this to get to this. Like, oh, like I didn't see that step. I didn't see the step from running around with the camera to shooting on movie cameras and doing all the lights and the audio. I didn't go to film school, so I never saw that. So understanding timing and then examining the personhood of my family's legacy, but also the people I'm around and connected to, like good. In film and music. It's like, well, how did you break into it? Or, with speaking, like, how did you do it? And seeing what they did. And like we talked about earlier, not just the fruits of it, but the people they are and were to get there. Like, how did you go about everything? Yeah. So, the serving mindset, the humility, the constant work ethic, like just really being relentless in your pursuit of it. That's been helping me out every single day. Understanding your time is limited, and so making the most of it. Not waiting till tomorrow.
Absolutely. Time is the most valuable resource on the planet. Literally, time is the most valuable resource on the planet. And each day, every single person is allotted that 24 hours. What do you do with it? What are you going to do with that 24 hours that you have in front of your day? And I'm going to throw in what Jalen said, because he talked about his relationship with God and how God has shown him what he needed. What is God showing you about that 24 hours and how you need to work that 24 hours? Because everyone's going to work their 24 hours differently. So how does Isaiah work his 24 hours.
Yeah, I want to applaud you what you said about really focusing in on yourself as well. Like that self, that inner work. Oh my gosh, dude, that does so much. And I think for me, it can be hard sometimes, and you can get weary in doing that self work because it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know I was going through all this stuff, and I thought I was okay, but I'm really not. And like I'm not used to crying, but now I'm crying every day. Like you know what I'm saying? So, but one thing that's been really helping me is like understanding that because I'm going through this, after I'm done with it, I'll have that tool and I can unlock that in somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Part, bro.
When we talk about legacy and we talk about it being for other people, doing that inner work is only going to help those other people. You know what I'm saying? But what was your question? That was just something that I was thinking.
No, you're good.
Question.
That's actually takes you in a really great direction. But my question, I'll bring it back. What steps are you taking, Zay? Like you're a music artist, and by the way, you're like, I will say it, like one of the most gifted people, and I'll brag on you, bro. And the thing is, Zay hasn't even put out music yet. Just wait, y'all. I'm telling you, and maybe by the time you're watching this, there'll be some music out. But
hopefully, yeah.
But no, you got a vicious library of music and things that you've created, and what, like, maybe not even music. You don't even have to go that way. But like, what does that look like for you daily, like to take those steps towards building your legacy?
Yeah, well, I try to dedicate time for everything. So you know, I wake up in the morning, and look, I don't like to make like my relationship with God like a routine type thing, but sometimes it is a daily practice. So you know, I get up. I make sure, you know, I get in my worship time. I usually do that in the shower. You can get it anywhere. You can get it in the car. You can get it in the bathroom.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Wherever you get it, God will
anywhere,
speak.
everywhere.
But, you know, I try to get that in. And then once I feel like I'm at a good spot with that, then I start, you know, doing my, you know, okay, what do I have to do for my work? What do I have to do for, you know, to get this song where I want it? And then, so I plan it out, and then I try to have a checklist and check it off. Sometimes I miss. You know, I'm a human being, but, you know, I try to structure everything because I'm not a very structured person. I'm a creative, so, like, I kind of can be spontaneous, kind of everywhere about everything. But, I try to do that, and then, just put out time, and then, you know, you get time for yourself as well. You know,
Absolutely.
I like to play basketball, so if I don't really get my basketball in the morning, I'm probably not going to be, you know, I'm probably not gonna be 100%. I know for you it's probably working out.
It is.
I think everybody, got.
It is. I was gonna say you already know if we start talking about the gym, man.
It'll be a whole different conversation,
bro.
Yeah, for
like, I don't know
sure.
where I rank the gym. I don't know where I rank it because, like, obviously, like at the top is gonna be God. Then it's gonna be myself, and then it's gonna be my fiance. That's about to be my wife. Then it's gonna be, you know, like y'all, and then. You know, the gym.
It's right there.
It's the octaves,
It
bro.
might be up there.
The octaves are killing me, bro.
I really do. Man, so I really want to ask y'all this because I feel like each of you, like to Zay's point, we have keys. I believe that we have keys to unlock the destiny in not, I wouldn't say every person, but I believe that there are people who are assigned to you. There's a passage of scripture where Paul is basically talking about, I don't boast beyond my sphere. And what he's saying is like, for what I'm called to. Yeah. We're not, you know, I'm not going to be the answer to everybody's something, but I will be the answer to somebody's something. Yeah. So with that, and we'll do it from each of us, but what would you say to the person that feels stuck and that they need to get moving and they want to build a legacy? They're like, they have the intention, like, man, I really like what y'all are saying about legacy is resonating with me, but I'm a little stuck right now. I don't feel motivated. I'm maybe depressed. I'm in a funk. Every time I've tried, I've failed. What would you say to the person who's stuck? And how would you encourage them to go forward so that they can, you know, daily build their legacy? Whoever wants to, y'all don't got to fight over who's got to go.
I'm going to just say you should go first because me and Jalen already went first.
Oh. I just answered. You gonna double me up?
That's true.
Just first. Whoever went first.
You got it, bro.
Let's see. Can you repeat the question one more time and like a simplified version
absolutely.
for me?
For the person who feels stuck, unmotivated, that wants to build legacy, what would you tell them right now? Yeah. Like, what would you say to that person, like, about how to move forward?
Mm-hmm. Well, for one, I do want to validate the feeling sometimes of being unmotivated because I've been finding myself in that spot. Thank you. That spot a little bit. Because I think sometimes, especially as like a creative person, we have pockets that we like really feel like super motivated in. And then there are times where it's not. So understanding and being able to discern what season you're in is really good too.
Wow.
Because sometimes, you know, you are working and you are motivated and you got so much to do. And there are other seasons where, you know, you're supposed to be doing something else. So I would just be very particular in understanding like what being motivated is for you and what you're trying to accomplish. Because there are other things that you have to do to accomplish a goal. It's not just about writing the song. It's about making sure you're whole to be able to communicate in the music. So that's kind of what I've been going through a little bit. But as far as finding that motivation, it'll change. I know for some people, you know, when it comes to, like financial things, people are like, okay, you know, I have to do this because, you know, I'm about to start a family.
Yep.
I got to do this because I'm about to move out. So it could start about money, but it could start being about something else as well. So sometimes if you're noticing that you're not really motivated, you need to switch and kind of see, okay, but what holds the most value for me right now?
Yes.
Maybe it's not about money anymore. Maybe it's about building a legacy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about having a sense of fulfillment. Maybe it's about really finding my purpose.
That's
so
really
I would challenge everybody to understand and see what you value the most, and that will kind of switch your motivation. But it's not always easy to find that spark. But it could be a change of your environment, getting around different people, you know what I'm saying? And having those people pull different things from you. You can't stay in that same environment. You gotta branch out, because there's so much to you. But if you just stay stagnant, you know, you gotta try new things.
Yo, I was just saying we might not have the keys to everybody, but I ain't gonna lie, that feels like that might be a key for everybody. I think you can apply that in your own way. What Isaiah was saying, and like why it resonates so much with me, is you have to be able to sense and know and have a keen awareness of what season you're in when you're in it. Because, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Right now, I'm in a season where I'm like, I got all these things and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to charge after. I'm ready to run after. I'm inspired. I'm creative. I'm excited. All this stuff. But I already know in about a little bit of time, I'm gonna be married and on a honeymoon, and it's gonna be a season of rest for that portion. But then it's also gonna be like, now I'm in a season, I'm building my relationship. I'm building my business so that I can provide. I'm building, all these things. So like knowing what season you're in, that's great, Zay. That's great.
Yeah.
What do y'all think, man?
Yeah, feeling stuck. So, if you're feeling stuck with building a legacy, I think you got to see yourself first before you start running into a legacy. So I think even with motivation, that'll come and go forever, and you just kind of have to find a workaround for that. Like, you don't want to go to the gym every day, but you do still, no matter what.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You get
I
tired.
don't wanna go every day.
No,
I don't.
You get tired sometimes. Sometimes you're really sore and you don't want to go, but you find a push through eventually with that. But if you're feeling stuck, you probably need to figure out how to see yourself and see what you're trying to build. Nobody goes out and builds a house and just wings it. You have a vision, you have a map first. So, with your life, same thing. You need to know yourself. You need to know what you're attacking. And I think I've been in both places, where you've been unmotivated, so you're not building, but then you got to get over that. Or I don't know what I'm trying to leave behind. I don't know what I'm trying to do now. Not even leave behind, but I don't even know what I want to do. Like, where's this going? I've been in those spaces, and that's when you need to make sure you're inviting God in the process. You need to make sure that you're asking him for direction, asking him for his roadmap for your life, if he's your creator and if he knows you better than anybody. And so then that'll help you point you in your direction.
How do you get, do you think it is the relationship with God? What would you say is, because I want to answer that question for that person.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, if you are unmotivated, say that somebody listening right now is like, yo, I am unmotivated. Like, I love what y'all are saying, man, but like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. What do you say to that person right now? And you might have to tell them however you would, but what do you say to that person that's like, I'm unmotivated and I don't even know if I want to change?
It just depends, like where the lack of motivation is coming from.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if it's unmotivated because you simply don't know what to do, you need to see the value in steps. Like, every step is connected. Like, the step I do now, I can't get the next step until I complete this one. So you need to put everything into this step, and then you'll keep walking all the way through. Sometimes you see it as too big, too far, and you can't get to it, and you're so focused on there that you're not focused on here. And so you need to go here, and then you will keep stepping all the way there. If that's where your motivation is, if simply not knowing, then that's a big thing. If you simply just don't even know life or what you want to do in general, that's another thing. That's simply, God will show you who you are. I came out here as a dancer, but God told me to bring a camera and a laptop, so I knew I'd be doing something in film and photography. I did not have the greatest equipment at all, and that's all I was doing out here. And then out here, he showed me that he's actually leading me to be a director as well. And then out here, I found music, and I never thought I'd do music. I was a dancer, so I love music. So all those things you discover along the journey of life. You just have to live and keep finding yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that motivates me right now. Mm-hmm. And Rick, bro, what do you say to that person?
Man, I'm gonna just speak very blunt.
Go for it. No,
candidly,
let them know.
Because it's
let me know.
Stuff that I had to. It's stuff that I had to deal with, right? Comparison. It kills every single time, bro. I would compare myself to my friends that were, because I'm an artist as well, and I would compare myself to people that were in close proximity to me, and I would see their success, right? And then that led to another problem that I had. Where was my validation coming from?
Wow.
Right? My validation was from those people that I didn't have a relationship with anymore. Then I feel like they outcast me because they did something without me, right? So comparison and validation. And then also understand that seasons change, and so do friends, right? Your circle changes, right? So don't be so connected to a group of friends that don't meet or speak to who you're becoming. Right? So validation, comparison, and don't be afraid of a change of community.
Yeah.
Simple as that, bro.
Big, bro.
Dog. I think that there's one more thought that I want to share. And if you feel like you got something to piggyback off of it, like jump in. But I'm reminded of a passage of scripture. Actually, it's a story, if you will. It's a life, and I think that God gives us these stories and these lives through the scriptures for us to learn from, for us to like in some way, shape, or form find ourselves in, so that we can say, oh, they navigated it like this, and God did that. That's how God showed up. That's and for the person who's looking for where do I start with my relationship with God, open up the Word, and just simply like don't even take it as this big intimidating book. Take it with God, I want to invite you in. Whatever my relationship is with you right now, I want that. I want to invite you in so that I can experience what these guys are talking about, because everything that we're talking about is first and foremost, it's rooted in our relationships with God. Like we wouldn't be able to, one, even be talking about the things we're talking about. Two, we wouldn't be able to do any of what we're doing if it wasn't for God. And maybe we could, but I mean like to the degree, there's no way. And we wouldn't really know who we are. But that's not really where I wanted to go. I wanted to talk about David. And for those who do know, those who don't know, I think everybody pretty much knows about David in the Bible, one of the greatest kings, just an amazing man of God. But David had this vision from God about the temple. He had this plan. He had all this stuff for this temple that he was supposed to build, right? He left that behind. He never saw the temple. David literally, he never saw it. But his son had the blueprint, because David left that behind. And again, about leaving stuff behind. His son saw the blueprint and said, you know what? I'm going to finish what my dad started. Yeah. I'm going to finish this. And he took it and did it in his own way, because watch this. When God asked him, like God came to him in a dream and he asked him like, what do you want? Like, and maybe God hasn't come to us in like this mysterious genie way, like we're talking about Aladdin. It's not that, but like this is how God was communicating to him. This was his relationship with God. He came to him, he said, what do you want? And his response, he took what his dad did, but he took it and made it his own. He said, I want a wise and understanding heart. I want to have a heart for the people so that I can lead them appropriately. And that's now his legacy. And now we can see that and be like, yo, I want that to be a part of my legacy. God, I want a wise and understanding heart. God, I want to be able to lead people well. So Lord, help me do that. And whatever it may be for you, but I love that because it shows that even though David didn't see the temple, he wrote that out, and his son was able to complete the legacy. So there's going to be things that we want to do, and we might have it written out. I would encourage you, by the way, write out your vision. Write out your vision. I'm saying it again. Write out your vision. If you don't have that written down, how are you supposed to keep it in front of you? Keep that in front of you, because even when you pass on, you might, everyone's eventually going to go. So what do you have that somebody, your son, your daughter, a friend, whoever can look at and be like, yo, this is what they stood for? I want to see that happen. They didn't get to see it, but I want to see it happen. And I encourage anybody who's out there, write out your vision, make it plain, stare at it, but also be mindful that somebody's coming up after you, and they're going to look at that. And that they're not just looking at what you write down, they're also looking at the life you lived.
I have a question. For people that don't really understand what their vision is, or maybe never seen that vision before, what's a good way for them to either better understand that vision or to find a vision in general?
I think it's open for everybody, but I'll just chime in real quickly. I think it goes back to what I was saying, which I didn't intend to say, but I'm glad that I did. It is your relationship with God. Because if we see God as the creator, the manufacturer, the one that made you, similar to a car, the car maker knows exactly what he did to make the car the way he made it. So if you need to figure out what is the vision for my life, what is my purpose, what is all those questions that we have, I would first start with that relationship with God. And the thing is this, you have knowings in your heart. You have passions. You have things that you're drawn to that make you come alive for. That's God. And I feel like this is an opportunity right now. And if this resonates, that's God knocking on your heart. He's saying, yo, I can show you. I got the blueprint. Like, I literally have the plan for your life. Like, I've got it, and like, I'm so excited to show it to you. I feel like this is how God would speak to me. Like, yo, Ty, I got the vision, bro. I've got the plan. Like, I really do, and I want you to see it. But if I'm not willing to look at it, if I'm not willing to see it, bro, I'll miss it. I'll miss what God has for my life. And I don't want that. So that I don't want you to miss it. I don't want you to miss what God has for your life. That's what I say. Guys, when we make these videos and when we do these podcasts and when we create any content, the goal of it is to start a conversation. So we might be closing, but that does not mean that this conversation has to end. We want you to take this conversation. We want you to carry it on in your life. You know, sit with a family member, sit with a friend, sit with yourself, and journal out your thoughts. Whatever it is that resonated with you, write it out. And just know we're going to be here to start these conversations. We are going to be a place where you can come, you can belong, you can have questions. And, you know, we don't have all the answers, but we do know the one that does. And we want to be, and by that I'm talking about God, but, you know, we want to be somebody that helps you see it. So, and just start those conversations, you know. So, man, we love y'all. Any last remarks from you guys? Otherwise, I'm good.
I think the last thing I would say, as far as leaving a legacy, don't look at it as just like an art form, right? Don't look at it as just, oh, I'm a musician, let me leave behind my music ability. Or I'm a football player, let me leave behind. Everybody's creative, right? Because we were created by the Creator, right? And that obviously that Creator is God. We represent Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and God on this podcast or whatever this is, right? Let's just throw it out there, right?
Yeah.
But you're all created by a Creator, so you have the ability to create in whatever capacity that means for you. So don't be hard on yourself in that either.
Yeah.
That was it.
No, that's the best way to close. We love y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, all of it. Catch you next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning into the Generation One podcast. I just pray that this conversation doesn't end here, that you would be able to take this into your life and that you would be able to have conversations with your family and with your friends and say, man, is what I'm doing today contributing to the legacy that I want to leave behind? Am I going after becoming everything that God created me to be? Because that's how we do it. If we pursue becoming everything that God created us to be, I believe that we can leave behind a legacy that is worthy of those who are coming up after us to build on. Because our lives, they're not just for us. We're literally building so that the next generation can continue to do the great work that we've started. And that's what we're all doing. We're living a life that is built on the lives of so many that have gone before us. And it's important that we live a life that is worthy of the calling, that we live a life that is leaving behind a legacy. And I just want to invite you, if Generation One has blessed you and you feel like these conversations are necessary and they're helping you and inspiring you to think beyond where you're at right now and calling you higher into what God has called you to do, I want to invite you to sow into this moment. I want to invite you to sow into Generation One. If you feel like God spoke something directly to you today, here's a QR code, scan it, and you can give directly into the Generation One Fund through our One ministry. Because what this does is it allows us to continue to create great content and bring things to you like this, and eventually have incredible opportunities to get together. Because I know, listen, we all want to get together. We want to make sure that we have an opportunity to come together and to pray and to have conversations and to just build a community. So we want to invite you right now to sow into Gen One, because it's not really just about us, it's about your heart. And this is really a test of our hearts and saying, God, I can trust that if I'm sowing into good ground, you will bring forth a powerful and bountiful harvest into my life. So I just want to give you that moment right now to go ahead and do that. And if you're not following us on social media, I'm talking about Instagram, TikTok. If you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel with your post notifications turned on, make sure you do that, because you do not want to miss anything that we have coming. We'll see you next week. We love you so much. Let's go!